In this video, I will show you 3 more examples on how to solve absolute value equations with the steps listed from our previous video. So the first task that I need to do to solve this absolute value is to get the value of the absolute part of the equation isolated. And in order to do that, I'm first going to need to add 5 to both sides. So then I'd have 4 times that absolute value of 2x plus 6 set equal to now 16. And now what I'm going to do is divide out that 4. So now I have my absolute value bars isolated. So the 2x plus 6 is now going to be set equal to 4. So now that this is isolated, I can set up my 2 equations here. So I'm going to show that 2x plus 6 could have been positive 4 in here to turn out a 4, or the 2x plus 6 could have been inside of here a negative 4, and that will still pop out a positive 4 here. So that's what I'm altering here to solve, positive 4 and negative 4. Okay, now solving doesn't take very much effort at all. Subtract 6 on both sides. Here we get 2x is equal to negative 2. And if I divide by 2, one solution is negative 1. And over here, again, start by subtracting 6, but now 2x is equal to negative 10 instead. And if I divide by 2, my other solution could have been negative 5. And again, I'm going to check both of those that they work. So here's my original. 4 times the absolute value of 2x, or in this case, I'm going to plug in negative 1, plus 6, then subtract 5 should come out to be 11. So my absolute value in here is going to be a negative 2 plus 6, or the number 4. The absolute value of 4 is positive 4. And 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 minus 5 is 11. So that worked out. Okay, now when I plug in negative 5, I have 4 outside. Now 2 times, in this case, negative 5. Then plus 6 inside my absolute value bars. Then minus 5 equal to 11. Okay, now I'm going to simplify in here. This is going to make negative 10. And negative 10 plus 6 is going to give me negative 4 inside that absolute value bars. Now the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. Then I'm going to multiply by 4, subtract 5. So if I multiply by 4, I get 16. And 16 minus 5 is 11. Does 11 equal 11? Totally does. Okay, now I have 2 more examples at the top of the next page in your notebook. So for this equation, what I'm going to start with is isolating my absolute value bars. So I need to get rid of that 2 in the front, and I'm going to divide that 2 out. So now I have my absolute value bars, my x plus 3, set equal to negative 3. So what was inside here, my x plus 3, could have been 3, or my x plus 3 could have been negative 3. Okay, so now when I solve, I'm going to subtract 3. So one of my solutions could be the number, if I subtract 3, 0. So that's one of them. And then over here, if I subtract 3, I could have had negative 6. But now I'm going to check. So in my original, I have 2 times, now instead of x, I'm going to plug in 0. 0 plus 3. That should equal negative 6. Okay, 0 plus 3 means in my absolute value bars I have 3. The absolute value of 3 is positive 3, and that times 2 is going to give me 6. Does 6 equal negative 6? The answer is no, which means that this solution of 0 did not work. So I'm going to cross it out. Did not work. Okay, now I'm going to try my other one. If I plug in negative 6 here, it would say 2 times the absolute value of negative 6 plus 3. That should come out to be negative 6. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is simplify here. 2 times the absolute value of negative 3. That should come out to be negative 6. Well, the absolute value, whether you have positive or negative, always pops out a positive. So is 2 times 3 equal to negative 6? Well, no. Positive 6 is not the same as negative 6. So this one didn't work either, which means we have no solution. And honestly, here's why. I hope you're not surprised. But the problem is, when you do absolute value, you can never get a negative. The absolute value is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful equations, because no matter what you're given or what you're dealing with or what you're working through, it always pops out positive. That's such a life lesson there to learn. So no matter what's going on inside this absolute value, in the end, it's going to pop out something that's positive. Think about how you could utilize that to change our world for the better. So no matter what you're going on, what's going on in your life, you can always turn it around and make it something better. Okay, so now I'm going to give you one more example. Again, we have to isolate our absolute value bars. So now this time, notice I changed this to be a negative 2 to fix that problem. So now my absolute value of x plus 3 is set equal to positive 3. Watch how this is going to make all the difference of the world here, and this is going to end up working out for us, because when you take the absolute value of something, it will come out positive. It's beautiful. Okay, x plus 3 will now equal positive 3, just like we had before, or x plus our 3 could be negative 3, because if I take absolute value of 3, I get 3. But if I had taken absolute value of negative 3, I still get positive 3. So that's why I'm setting up these two cases, because what's in here could have been positive or negative. All right, now let's solve just like we did before. Subtract 3, and I get 0 for a solution. Subtract 3, and I get negative 6 for a solution. Watch when we try now. Negative 2, if I plug in 0 now, will that make this come out to be negative 6? Well, let's see. Negative 2 times the absolute value of 3 will be negative 2 times a positive 3. Negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6, and that one worked. And now again, if I plug in negative 6, so I have negative 2. Now if I plug in for x my negative 6, the absolute value of that, will I get that equal to negative 6? Well, negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. And the absolute value of anything is always popped out positive. And negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Beautiful.